Authoritarian. Adjective, favoring and forcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. Noun, an authoritarian person. I'm guessing you guys know what the hell I'm getting into today, but that I don't even know what to get into with that speech. There was yay, we're using the Defense Act to get this, and like it's just I don't know. But first, I was going to say, to see this on the eve of 9/11 and everything that it meant to the country and everyone that died and everything that's happened since then. To see students and people actually wanting us to not talk, about blame or gruesomeness that went along with the attack on 9/11. I'm sorry. These are the people that did it. If you don't like it, maybe grow the fuck up. Sorry, there's an F bomb for you. Grow some balls. Guess what? There's a group that did it. We're not picking on all Muslims or people that are Islamic. We're picking on those exact people that did it, the extremists, the crazies. It's funny how the left likes to pick on everyone on the right side that's crazy. Call out all those as extremists or religious extremists, or Christians, anyone else. But we can't do it to the people that did that. Look at the last 20 years and what it caused. I'm sorry if you're offended by that. You really are a fucking idiot because we're not talking about any of you. That was my shock face. Actually, this is my shock face. At least anymore. We don't want to talk blame. Sorry, they did it. These people did it. They were this. Too bad. So sad. We're not going to change the facts because it hurts some pussy's feelings. We're not blaming all those people. All white people still get blamed for slavery and all this other stuff, even though it's hundreds of years ago. But we can't blame the people from 9/11, the attackers of 9/11. We talk about the gruesome details, and we talk about all the gruesome details of everything bad white people ever did. This is the way we're going. Argue with me all you want but it's true. That's the way things are going now. So if you got a problem with it, too bad. That's not what I needed to wake up to. Was that people really want us to stop and blame? Why? You throw blame for everything else. That's all you ever see. I can get blamed for shit that was hundreds of years ago. Why can't we blame these people from 20 years ago, tomorrow, or whenever you're listening to this for doing it? Because they did it. It's true. If you don't like it, maybe you should grow a pair. It's not meant to offend you. It's meant to teach you so we learn these things so we don't go back to those places. So we don't do anything. That's what history is actually for. We call it actual individuals that did it. We're so divided and stupid and pussified that who knows? Hell, I even saw a post earlier that someone posted that was going off on people for not mentioning that one of the people on the flight that went down in Shanksville, one of the people that attacked the terrorists and crushed was gay, and no one ever mentioned that. We need more support for the LGBTQ. No offense, I like they talk about the person's name every time on 9/11. Every time that anything happens, when they talk about 9/11, there, none of them are able to bring it up. I'm sorry, they didn't throw he was gay out there. They're not holding him out. I'm pretty sure no one even knew back then or cared, or his family when they talk about it, didn't think it was a big deal. It's not us excluding them. Sorry. He was an American, just like we all were on the 12th. I missed the 12th. And everyone, literally, no one's lying to say American flags are out. Everyone was talking nice, just patriotic and American. No one cared about any of the differences. How the hell time has flown in the last 20 years to the point of what happened with us leaving Afghanistan, which, wonder why we were there. And this is just, and look at us now, just arguing over everything, even divided about that. And I'm sorry if you agree with anything that happened there, you're wrong. That was a clusterfuck. That was done ass backwards. That was done completely wrong. And people died because of it. And again, no one cares. It's really hell, look at the mainstream media, barely any coverage at all. A lot of people, like you said on the social media, no one really said a lot. And everyone that does say anything gets shut down. It's pathetic and it's embarrassing on the eve how far more divided we are now. I miss the days of the 12th and the long time after that when everyone didn't give a damn. We could discuss our differences and we all got along. Seems like a very, very long time ago. Hey, what do I say every time? Talk to people, have real conversations, because this goes both sides. I might be voting one way, but I don't go straight down the board unless, I read like both sides. I see what the people say they're going to do compared to what they've actually done, voting wise. And that's how I pick. I keep saying there's idiots on both sides that are causing all this idiocy, which is why no one gets along. I say it every day. I say it all the time. But, it is what it is. Anyway, to Biden's speech, I do love like what he tried to do, what they always try to do. I mean, it's really their game plan. It's all they know how to do because it's all they have, because they literally have nothing else. But it started out, blaming, nearly 80 million unvaccinated. So of course, it's my fault. It's okay. Everything's my fault. I'm used to it. I grew up in the middle with two sisters. I was married to a redheaded ginger woman from hell. Guess what? Even when it wasn't my fault, she was doing shady shit. It was my fault. It got turned on me, and I was made out to be the ridiculous one. Guess what? Anyone that wants to argue this and knows it, I have all the legal documents. It's been proven. But it's all our fault. It always is. It has to come down to it's our fault. And like that's not even my favorite part. My favorite part, one of my favorite parts, actually, sorry, I can't say my favorite part, but one of them was taking credit for getting, for the people vaccinated, and there wasn't enough vaccine. Well, guy, last I checked, late November, early December is when they finally actually got approved. And Trump had, 200, 300 million doses paid for, but they weren't out yet because they were just getting approved and other ones didn't get approved. So more got approved, which means more people got vaccinated, you fucking idiot. That's how that worked. They were paid for. They just weren't approved until right before you took office. So a lot more of them came out and were ramped up after you got into office. Shocker. That's what happens when they just get approved beforehand. But hey, you Democrats keep taking credit for everything, for all that, everything you did. That's, really what they do, right? Like, I'm sorry. We all saw they were rolling out right before they took office. I think they all got vaccinated in the first dose, like mid to end December. And then right before that, like, it was all around there. Like they just got approved beforehand. So people really couldn't. They really just made people vaccinated. Look where we're at now. That's because we finally actually got all the shots because they didn't all get approved. None of them did until right before you took office. Like, and then they had to get produced. But again, hey, take credit for it because you did absolutely nothing. But that's what they do. They take credit for everything. They just try to, ignore everything that they do wrong, like Afghanistan, which is why no one takes credit. Questions about everyone. It's just, blaming everyone. But hey, take credit for all of that. Like that's fascinating, unsurprising, and really shouldn't surprise any of us. But I mean, I wasn't surprised that he went there in the speech, but he led it right into taking credit for the economy coming. No administration has, ever created this many jobs in the first year of their administration, or did it like had this much gain. One, when you took over, all the blue states were still very much so locked down. It's amazing how after you got there, they all started opening up. Two, they were all the 10.5 million jobs were already there. The 10.5 million jobs in the country. And last month, you got 238,000 people back to work. But the jobs were already there. Everyone's just opening back up because of COVID vaccines. And because you took over, so amazingly, suddenly the blue states started loosening a little bit. And if you don't like that, look it up. It's true. I know it probably hurts your damn head, but well, I can give a damn about your head. Honestly. But you didn't create them. They were already there. Everything opened back up because of vaccinations and all that. So they're there waiting to be filled. You try to spin it however the hell you want if you're on that side, but they were there. Look how much people went off work last year, especially in blue states, because red states kind of stayed open and had lesser idiocy. Less jobs vanished in those places. But hey, you keep like, we did all of this. No, everything just started opening back up because of vaccines. People could go back to work, and especially like the millions of blue states. Like, That's really how that works. I mean, the number of unemployment difference between red and blue during all of it and before they took over and vaccines started coming out was astronomical. Like these are real things. Look it up. I'm not making it up. As hard as that is to believe, and as much as people out there want to believe it, we're not making this up. It is true, but hey, take credit for all the vaccines and all that because there weren't enough because none of them were made yet because not even all of them were approved. You blithering jackass. Just like the jobs, they were all there, but they all shut down because of everything. So now that they're back doesn't mean you created them. They were already there. Everyone just got to flip the switch back on because of vaccines and everything. Prove me where I'm wrong. I beg you to prove me where I'm wrong. I know I'm not. Anyone that's actually paid attention to anything actually knows anything. But again, he went back to the same stuff he's been saying since he got over. This is the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Nearly 3/4 has gotten at least one shot, with a quarter getting none. New requirements and all this, like tyrants, which, by the way, a lot of them, some of them, they actually have physically no authority to do a constitutional right or anything. But hell, they've been doing that since they took office. And guess what? Every president does do it. But for the love of God, look at all these EOs, all these things, the Supreme Court shutting down. Now this, which is everyone's going to sue them. They're going to lose because they don't have the power to do it. But they're doing it anyway because they don't give a damn. Yeah, all of that. And, it's not about freedom or personal choice. It's about getting jabbed. Well, I'm pretty sure that kind of talk is why we're having a hard time getting people to actually get the thing. It makes sense in my head. And one of my favorite lines from all of it is this one, like coming up. I'm sure we all caught it because it makes so much sense. Okay. Follow along. Please be seated. Seated? Sitting down. Oh, I just put seated. I just put them together. Seated. Just please be seated. That right now, if you're unvaxxed, you should get vaxxed to protect family, friends, loved ones, co-workers. Except here's the catch. If you're unvaxxed, you're going to get the vaccination to protect those people that are already vaccinated. So if you can spell out to me in English, you can send in some language. There's translators everywhere. I can figure it out. How does it make any sense that the unvaxxed need to get vaccinated to protect the vaccinated? So what you're saying is it doesn't work, and the reports and stuff from other countries saying that people are vaccinated are getting Delta more. Are the vaccinated? I'm sorry, but the unvaxxed have to get vaccinated to protect the vaccinated. I'm sorry, that actually physically does not make any amount of sense, no matter how stupid you are. How you try to spin that. We're need to get it to protect the vaccinated, even though you keep saying the vaccinated get lighter symptoms and all that. Was 160,000 deaths are vaccinated, 1 in 5,000 hospitalizations are vaccinated, whatever. Then that means that we're not doing anything to hurt them. So why do we need to do it to protect them? I'll never understand, but I don't understand most of it comes out of his mouth. And even his own staffers report that they mute or turn off the TV whenever he speaks because they can't. Let me get to the more unconstitutional parts. Labor Department, all employers with 100 or more employees that ensure 80 million workers need to get vaccinated or show test once a week. And by the way, I've seen the numbers. It is $14,000 for every offense. The little businesses that aren't forced people, they get caught. Someone misses one, that's 14 grand. So please tell me how that's, going to put anyone out. It's not, and I do love that he mentioned that, companies like Disney, Walmart, and even Fox News have vaccination, policies and mandates and stuff. Yeah, it is amazing though. All these big companies, then he's had to jab Fox News because it's kind of all Obama did too. Because they're the only ones that are talking any shit about any of them. Which again is amazing. But we've been down this road before. We've seen it before. We've played the game before. They did the same shit for 8 years. when that blithering jackwagon was our vice president. You know, it's just what they do. I don't make it up. I'm trying not to be a dick, but literally played this game for years. Okay, but total of 17 million healthcare workers thrown in there now. If they have Medicare, Medicaid facility, love to see how that one's going to work out. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, see you later, because they've made it all this time without getting one, obviously, and they didn't catch it or spread it to anyone. At least not in a big way that you saw, but I mean, like they made it this far suddenly now. Makes sense. That's going to cause a lot more jobs. I'm telling you, that's not how you entice people to get something by saying do it, or we're going to take your job, your ability to go to the store, your ability to live life. Like that's just going to keep pissing people off worse, actually. Especially if there's 3/4 of the country is protected, and there's people that have already got immunity, people that didn't know they have that immunity, like all these things. Again, we're doing unvaxxed or getting vaccinated to protect the vaccinated, which again doesn't make any sense. I know YouTube's going to shit all over this one. So make sure you watch it on Facebook, YouTube, and on Rumble and Getter. That'd be GETTR, or listen to it, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get thrown off. But executive order, again, requiring all executive branch employees to get vaccinated. Another executive order that all contractors must be vaccinated and can't do business with the Fed unless everyone's vaccinated. Shocker there. Giving all these employees money for their workers to cover time missed because they or a loved one got vaccinated. Now that one, if you're being mandated to do it, whether you want to do it or not, and you have to stay home, obviously, a certain amount of time, or a loved one, yes, and they get it, and you're living with them, then you need the time off, obviously. Like I don't dump on them. That makes sense. If they're gonna have to do it, they should get their wages covered, because it's not their fault that it's getting rammed down their throat and mandated. So, see, everyone says I do nothing but talk trash. I agree with that. That does make sense, because if you're going to mandate someone to do something, the least you can do is cover their wages when they physically will not be able to go to work, so they can still live and pay their bills. So there's one for them. Score one for the whatever guys you want to call them. I call them the crazy guys, not the good guys, not the bad guys. They're bad shit crazy. But that's good. Like that's one thing I think should happen. I think that's something that everyone should agree on. If you're going to get forced to get it, and then you're going to have and get the side effects, get sick. Whatever happens, you're going to need time off, especially when you get it. It's higher transmissible and all that from you to others, whether you're wearing a mask, and all that. So I fully agree with that. I do. I know. Again, people, if you watch this, if Drew watches this, all the people that say I just talk nothing but trash about them, that one makes sense. Mandating stuff, that's kind of mean and unconstitutional in a lot of the ways, but that makes sense. So there we go. He begged, sure, racetrack, sports, places, concerts, concert halls, sporting arenas and venues, other venues, to require get tests to allow people entry. And I can say, yeah, I mean, starting, I believe it's October 1st, Live Nation, who runs Walnut Creek Amphitheater and a lot of other facilities all over the place, so are requiring either your Vax card or a negative test within 3 days of the event. And I do know that Louder Than Life in Louisville at the end of the month is requiring vaccinations by a certain date, or a negative COVID test within 3 days of the first day. So that's really what I'm going to say. Just get it by, I'm going to get it on Tuesday, because we have to travel Wednesday. So I'm going to try to get Monday, Tuesday, get it, travel to Louisville, as long as it's negative, and go and do my thing, present that. I mean, it all depends on what day you have tickets for. I don't mean, so there's a bunch of different variables, but guess what? That makes sense. We're going to have a lot of people, whatever. It's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. I'll go get my brain picked by a big ass Q-tip, jig ass Q-tip, whatever. Gigantic is what I was trying to go with. So gigantic and big together makes jig, but I'll do that. Like, it makes sense. Again, I have no problem with that. That's a simple thing. Vaccinated or have a negative test within 3 days of the start. Because I think that gives all tests, really, now they're running most of them a chance to run and get the results. So I completely agree with that. I'm not against that at all. So there, YouTube, don't throw me off. I think that makes sense. Last time I said that I got thrown off. I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. Because again, it helps when you're gonna have that many people there. Yes, that does help protect things. And requiring masks indoors, like that's another good thing. Like I respect that. I won't argue that. Whatever, wear a mask. People have to wear it longer than me. I don't have any conditions to make me not want to wear a mask, so it makes sense. See, I can agree with two things. So there, and I give Loud Nation credit. Live Nation, either be vaccinated by this date, or be fully vaccinated, or have negative tests within 3 days. Makes sense to me. You're never going to hear me complain about that because regardless of how anyone feels, that is it's not really that inconvenient. It's a simple thing to do, regardless of how you feel. It's not bad. And how often do you really go to things, concerts and stuff? People backing out and stuff all the time. So it's not a big thing. Him saying his patience is wearing thin and our refusal has cost us all such an angry, shitty tone really didn't help anything. Again, if we're getting vaccinated to protect the vaccinated, I don't know. One of every 500 cases has been fully, vax, death, whatever he said, 160,000 cases, already went over that. Talking about schools. Schools have proven in many different states from all over the world that they're not like super spreader things. Now the Delta variant, yes, more kids are getting it. So they should do measures to, protect people better because this one is more contagious towards children. See YouTube, I'm agreeing with that too. Science shows that. I don't know, but again, I just forcing vaccines, I don't know. Everyone should have the right to, do this or do this to be able to get, still get the same thing. So I don't know about that, but he did mention that. So yeah, see how they all do that. I know there's going to be lots of people arguing that and probably lawsuits out the wazoo. And the DOD schools require all teachers, those schools get vaxxed, and that's because they are technically federal employees. So they fall under that because the Fed can do that to their own people, to the Fed, not to private, but they could do it to them, to their own people. So I don't like it, but they have the authority to do that because they're DOD facilities. So I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with them continuously reminding people of how much authority he has, and I have the authority to do this, and I have the authority to do that. But you're also doing a lot of things you don't have the authority to do. Just like you even said you didn't have the authority for the eviction moratorium, but you still went and put it in to get extended anyway, even though you knew you couldn't, and that's why it got shot down. It's a little thing, saying that some governors aren't helping the pandemic. Obviously, he's going after, Abbott, DeSantis, Kristi Noem. And we all know that's going to go to court. It's going to sit in court for forever because there is like the Constitution, which gives them the authority to run their states, not the federal government, and to control, public health and all that. So let's see how that plays out. Again, YouTube, don't go after me. There's some that are already doing it. There's some that have it written up. There's all that. It's not on me. I didn't do it. Using the Advanced Production Act to, make more rapid tests, which is more, convenient because it gets done so fast. I'm curious as to why they're just bringing that up now, or if they have been doing it and they're just mentioning, or what, if they're just getting to it now, like where the hell have they been? Because that would have helped immensely with people doing all this. I mean, and doing it, and getting it for people to have it so they can get it at cost for the next 3 months from places like Walmart, Amazon, and Kroger. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, save anyone money to do it if you're going to make people get, mandate vaccines. Like, there's nothing about that bad about that. Sorry. Like, if you're going to at least have the fastest one, there. Now making them pay for it every week, like, that's just like kind of sticking it to them for not getting vaccinated. Like, here, you have to pay for this. The vaccine's free. You have to keep paying for this. Like, that's dickish. But at least doing it at cost for if you have to do it randomly, like if you have to get like airplanes start doing things or anything like that, then you can get the one, boom, be done fast at home. If it gives you it there, I don't know. I never looked, but if you could do that, that does help. So I'm not going to complain about that, as long as it saves people money and it gets, safe, fast, and accurate results. And people have to do it. Like, I'm gonna need stuff like that for like a rapid test to go to Louder Than Life, or to go if I want to go, if I do end up trying to go see Slipknot in October, just to see them before all hell breaks loose again. And to see them at an amphitheater, because that just seems weird. But to do stuff like that, to get it done that fast, like I'm okay with that. Again, I don't know if they were doing it before, but you just said we're gonna have them do it. So I don't know why they didn't do it faster, but that's just, but again, they brought up, we're going to do this. Apparently they weren't doing it. I don't know why you weren't this whole entire time, because Trump was using that thing like wildfire to do everything. So it should have just stayed. But again, it was one of his mandates. So they probably got rid of it. But that is a good mandate. And I'm okay with that. See, there's three. Should write this down. This is historical. This is some unheard of shit. Me getting along with that much. TSA doubling fines of those that refuse to mask. I mean, all you're going to do is piss more people off, really. That's all I see coming from it. It's really not discouraging people from doing it. All you're doing is pissing people off, and you're going to piss them off more. And yes, I don't think you should go after flight attendants. They're just doing their job. But doing that, that's just going to piss people off worse. So I don't know how that works. I will put out there that he talked about the mask mandate that he put on his first day in airlines, federal buildings, federal lands, that he did break, like inauguration night, like a few hours after he did that with his whole family at the Lincoln Memorial. Like, so please lay off of that one. You put it in, then you broke it 10 minutes later. Might have been 3 or 4 hours, but it's pretty much 10 minutes. So don't talk about that. Again, record job creation in first year of admin and growth, best growth in 40 years. Well, again, like I said, like everyone knows, the economy was rolling till all the blue states and everyone really shut down. The red states shut down less. You saw the difference between the unemployment rates between red and blue. And now they start opening because of vaccines. So obviously, like, that's going to put everything up. And all those jobs came back and still no one's working. So there's really nothing to be proud of. Like, you didn't do it and you're not getting anyone back to work because you were still giving people more money to sit at home than you were to work. So, of course, you brought up the communities of color being more ravaged by the pandemic and bringing up, equity. Says disease just transcends borders, even though ours is over and we've let about 1.5 million people across the border illegally, process them whether they had COVID or not, and send them wherever the hell they want to. And they don't have the same mandates that we do, so we could take that and shove it somewhere. And we've given over 140 million doses to over 90 countries. So more than countries like Russia, China, and Europe. Europe's a continent made up of a lot of countries, but I'll let that one slip. That one could be an easy confusion thing unless someone actually wrote that. But I mean, barely a million per. That's how the U.S. leads the world. That's why we've been getting chastised and ripped by our allies since the whole Afghanistan thing and all that. And yeah. And closing, which he didn't say, I've seen it, handed vaccines, therapeutics, all this stuff. And the August numbers are 300 times worse than last August when there was nothing. Nothing. I want to make sure I clarify that. There's some therapeutics. Yeah, we had therapeutics, but we didn't have vaccines or anything. And the numbers are still skyrocketing worse when there was nothing. And literally everyone was getting sick. So, but I want to throw that in there. See if there's anything impressive that I missed in any of this idiocy. Sure, there's something. Oh, yeah, Charlie Kirk. Gotta love him. The White House is waging a more aggressive war against the unvaccinated Americans than they are against the terrorists who killed U.S. troops in Kabul. That's what 75% of Americans, again, he even said it, vaccinated. And the numbers are that much higher, which, again, proves a point. But, and Joe Biden is the fascist dictator that the left desperately tried to make you think Donald Trump was. But, never mind all those tweets and all that funniness. And close it out. I mean, regardless, I'm sorry, like whether you like them or not, those numbers were there for employment under Trump. Like those were all jobs that got shut down because of the pandemic. A lot of them still aren't even back. So please stop taking credits. Big job growth in 40 years and the most jobs ever. Like, you didn't create them. They were there. They just reopened because of it. No matter how the hell you want to look at it, those are just basic how it actually is facts. I'm sorry if you don't like it. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. Like I can't make it up. Sorry for butchering Tupac too. Greatly apologize. Doesn't mean like you can't make that up. Can't make up like look at all the stuff we did with vaccines. Like they didn't get approved until right before you got in office, so they're just barely getting made. All of them weren't approved, so you didn't have all the doses yet. And like 300 million were bought by Trump before he left. So yeah, like you really didn't do that either. They were just waiting to be approved and produced and shipped. And that's why more people got stuck because they just barely got approved before he got in office. So for the love of Christ, can someone remind them to stop taking credit for everything, when especially when it's that obvious they had nothing to do with it? I know I'm going to get yelled at. I'm going to get kicked off of YouTube. I really don't give a shit at this point. That's just the way it is. If you don't like it, tough. Does he have the authority to go over and force all these employers and stuff? No, he doesn't, which is why states are fighting as they should, just constitutionally. Notice he said he had the authority for all those things. He didn't mention it there. Yeah, there's just so much idiocy and people like to argue and all that, but the numbers don't lie. Like the numbers are this bad, regardless, with all these people vaccinated and all that compared to everyone that had nothing last year. Like it's just same month. And those are real things. No, I mean, it's wish we'd just stop having people like, be so tyrannical. Just follow the Constitution. Believe it or not, there's some people that are just in the prime of their life, really, really healthy, eat really, really well, aren't overweight, don't have any pre-existings, and they're in that 99+% that are going to make it. If it doesn't make them bad people, and how the hell are unvaxxed need to get vaxxed to protect the vaxxed? Like, shouldn't they be protected if they're already vaxxed? Like, there's stuff like that that contradicts everything. But regardless of any of that, big point. Tomorrow's 9/11. I've said it before, I missed 9/12. No one was a dick then. And people got along regardless. They talked about their differences. They were good human beings. They were American. They didn't care about anything else. They didn't argue about it. We were American and united. Like, how far have we fallen? You could try to tell me that we haven't. How and far have we fallen? See, I'm better since the intro. I'm censoring myself. Like we were so good that day, and look at us now. We can't even look at each other. I hate to break it to you, both sides in DC really aren't helping the case. They're doing all they can. I mean, Joe personally attacking, all the unvaxxed, saying it's all their fault. Nancy's called us all enemies of the state, celebrities, and people in there comparing us to the Taliban, people on, unvaxxed people on the right, like, all that. Like, none of that's helping. But there's idiots on both sides that are just playing the game, like Liz Cheney, all the rhinos, all the Pelosi's and Schumers of the world. The AOC, she's just dumb. It's not her fault. Like, they're just playing the game to divide us. And if we learned anything from 20 years ago, and it didn't last forever, but it lasted for a long time, is that no matter what, we can all get along and unify as Americans. We could be good human beings to each other regardless, because everyone was all like had their own everything back then, divisions everywhere about everything, but we all like united as one front when that happened. It shows like at the worst of times we're the best, but I don't know why we can't just be non-sociopaths. And again, the media doesn't help. Politicians, like the ones that have been there for forever, do not help because that's all they spew. But we can all be very good. And I know, you just butchered his speech. Well, I'm going to call out the lies and everything he said. Sorry. I didn't have a show when Trump was talking all kinds of weird shit. But if we're going to lie, I'm going to call them out. Regardless of who they are. Sorry, they're the ones that have been giving all the speeches since all the stupid happened with Afghanistan and all that. I know we can all actually get along, but people actually have to put forth effort and look up actual facts. Look up real numbers about stuff that's really happening, what's actually going on, before they just start blowing up on people and just spewing all their biased shit, calling out everyone on the other side, just everything. Like, the worst I tell people on the left is they're batshit crazy and ignorant, because they're crazy and ignorant. Like, I'm not comparing them to the Taliban or enemies of the state or we're all domestic terrorists or anything like that. Groups like Antifa, BLM, hell, Proud Boys, oh, they're very close to domestic terrorists. I mean, they should be on the list. Yeah, stuff like that, yes. But regular people, no, they're just uninformed on both sides. It goes both ways because most people don't look into the stuff. People did that more, we'd be a much better union. Remember that indivisible part. Well, right now we are completely screwed. Like, how far have we fallen since 9/11? Tomorrow makes 20 years, tomorrow morning. Coming very, very close up to it. We're in 12-hour mark when I record this now. Roughly. I mean, I can actually break it down to the minute. Hold on. Like, North Tower struck at 8:46. So literally 32 minutes from when I say this right now, 12 hours and 32 minutes. And we'll officially, sorry for hitting the mic there, be 20 years. Look how far they have us divided over everything. Politics, race, sexuality, everything. That might be crazy, but I call it like I see it. And well, they're the ones that are doing all the talking right now, a lot of the talking, but not all the stuff. It's all coming out on them. Sorry, I've done ass backwards or taking credit for stuff that was already done they had nothing to do with. And they just need to be honest. So is the other side. You need to get rid of the people like the Liz Cheneys, McConnells, Schumers, Pelosi's, like all the cancer that has been there for decades. That's why we are where we are. Nothing to do with like Trump in the White House for 4 years. Hate to break it to you. It's the people that are pulling the strings, writing the bills, passing the laws, passing the budget, like all that. It's those people that have been there for decades that are doing it. I hope people become more informed and like do what we got to do, because it is pathetic how far we have fallen in the last 20 years. And since then, we were so good. So many people, like some people weren't even born. Some people are babies and don't remember it. But I do. I know where I was. Second floor, middle school, 8th grade. Of course, we're at middle school. Dr. Bacchetti wouldn't play it for us. We had to do regular class while everyone else showed it. See, I still remember that. Mr. Stanek showed it. Everyone else showed it. Dr. Bacchetti wouldn't. And everything that changed, everyone was so good and so together. And it just breaks my heart to see it, but hopefully it doesn't take something stupid like that happening to finally get us like to realize this, we actually all can get along, and we are a great country when we try. But I'm finally going to get off my idiot box. Sorry for rambling on that one so long, but it's a good closing thought. Again, videos, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and Getter, even though I'm pretty positive this one's going to get kicked off YouTube because I mentioned COVID. They're very, very bad about that. Even if you're reading straight from the CDC's website, they still throw your ass off because they call it misinformation, because it's not what the media say. Science, though, it matters. Audio, Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Follow along to those. You can catch up to everything. Sponsor gets a little happy. I get a little something for it. Everyone wins. You can catch up to the whole library. Not kill your phone for having a video on there, your tablet, whatever you're on, but I appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Do something to remember 9/11, man. Again, just over 12 hours away from the first strike on that tower. So, do something to commemorate it. Be good to each other. Unite for one damn day. It seems hard, but do it. Educate yourselves. Be good to each other, and enjoy your weekend. So, till Monday, my friends, enjoy it and peace.